And good morning, everybody. This is the Hawkeye trading session. It's Tuesday, November 3rd, Election Day. And we'll be going until about 10 or 10:15 this morning. We'll see how the market goes. It's probably going to be a little slow today for the most part of this morning. If we see some trades taken today, I'll show them in demo. I don't plan on taking anything live today, but if we got a setup or something, we'll check the setups. We'll try and see if anything would materialize from it. But so I'm going to be pretty much in the demo mode today due to the elections. And for the disclaimers, trading the foreign exchange on margin carries a high level of risk and may not be suitable for all investors. The high degree of leverage can work against you as well as for you. Before deciding to invest in foreign exchange, you should carefully consider your investment objective, level of experience, and risk appetite. The possibility exists that you could sustain a loss of some or all of your initial investment, and therefore you should not invest money that you cannot afford to lose. You should be aware of all the risks associated with the foreign exchange trading and seek advice from an independent financial advisor if you have any doubts. This is a live trading room. It is for educational purposes only. No financial advice or recommendations will be provided. Any trade taken during the live session is not a recommendation or a suggestion that you should also do the same. Past performance is not indicative of future results. Do not trade money that you cannot afford to lose. Before trading live, always operate with a written trade plan that identifies the rules for entries, exits, targets, and risk management. And having said that, we'll go to the charts. I've got a US yen chart up and running. Let me switch my screens here. And we have basically the last alert we had wasn't since 2:15 this morning, which was the US CAD. And then we had one earlier than that, which was right around 2 o'clock, which is the US yen. So I've got what I have here right now on the US yen is I have a tool called harmonicpatterns.com, and they gave an alert on the US yen, and they were looking at, and I drew the harmonic pattern on here. And I'm finding that to be, when we don't get these alerts, this is actually relative a good secondary backup to finding direction and where some targets may be. But anyway, this is the harmonic pattern. It's pretty much started with the high way over here. Here's the A, here's the B, here's the C, and here's the D. This is basically on the harmonics. This is where we're looking at an entry to go short. Well, if you're looking to go short here, that means there's also looking for it to come up. And what we're trying to do on these harmonics is try and find where the C mark is, and these patterns will paint the C. None of these are locked in stone. I mean, these I can see oftentimes it'll come down and this whole pattern will go away if it breaches the C. But right now, it's looking at this would be the target to go up to take it short. But I'm also looking at this area right here. So that's just a little bit on how these work. I'm going to go to the 15-minute chart, and we're going to go to, and I haven't drawn this out yet, so we'll take a look and see how this thing pans out here as we're waiting for other alerts to happen. This was at 2 o'clock in the morning. And you can see that this was the, I'm going to change my color here. You can see this is where the wedge alert came in. It was a ascending wedge. It's at 2 o'clock. Now, I'm not sure where they came up with the ascending, because this looks like it was a really strong drop at 2 o'clock. But I think if you look at the overall picture of the trend in a higher time frame from this is Tuesday, this was Monday's activity, this was last Friday. From last Friday, you can see that it is on a somewhat of a uptrend. So that would be the ascending part. This was a strong move down at 2 o'clock in the morning. And so this is an area of interest. We had the trend on the higher time frame. This was back on the 29th. I believe that was probably Thursday, Friday. This was Monday, and this is Tuesday. So we do have a little bit of stronger trend coming up here. It never really got down that low, but I'm going to go ahead and mark this C area as a point of reference. We know that the price got down that low, and if it breaks this A, it's going to probably run into this trend line from here. This one is not confirmed yet, so actually I need to make this a little more purple. So this is a higher time trend line, not confirmed. I didn't, so I changed the color to purple. And we have this one got breached at the top. You have where the B came up. This was a little bit of a breach, came back down into the wedge area. I'm going to move this, but I drew this line right here based on the harmonic. So that's where this one came from. You had a high, here's a hit, here's a hit. This trend line has actually been validated. I'm going to confirm that one, but it was been validated as the third hit. It came up, breached out, came back out, and now it's retesting the C. So you have a little bit of a pattern where you're seeing a little bit of a trending action going on here. We have a high, a low, lower high, higher low, and here it broke at the B area. It broke this, so now we have a higher high, higher low, still another higher high, still another higher low, and so this trend line over here is actually having some strength. If it can break through the C, it may go lower to the A, but right now we do have a breach of this higher time frame trend. It did break, and we have two supply zones sitting up on top up here. And that would be this area right here, which is where we had a move up, came down, came back and retested the zone, came back out, formed the lower A, and now it's coming back up. And I would expect this thing may break, might give us an entry here to go and retest this supply zone. Oftentimes when you get two supply zones on top of each other, the first one breaks, the second one holds. So this could be a possibility of a break of a trend line. If it comes back up and gives us another break, I would like to see a break the top of this blue candle right here. So I'm just going to move this one up to the top. I like to see a break of this blue candle, close above, and then the question is whether there be enough room to the upside, and that would be basically you'd have 7 pips from, if we can get a close above the trend line here on the 15 minutes. Let's go to a lower time frame, see if we can get this thing tweaked a little bit. I'm going to go to my 1 minute chart. Like I said, there's no alert, no wedge alert, so we're just kind of free drawing this one. We do have a Fibonacci line right here. If we can get you can see where this thing passed it, came back, checked it. So right now this line has some value to it right in here. If it can break and close above and come back and recheck it, that might be the possibility. So we're looking at a pass it, come back, retest it, and then take on up to the upside. Again, this is I'm not sure how much room we're going to get to any trades today, but that's 12 pips to the first supply zone up here. So there may be a little something here. Right now, the trend line is holding. It did get a bounce off the 30-minute 62. It came back, passed it, came up, checked it, passed it again. It's rechecking this. All of our moving averages on the 1 minute are in the correct direction to go long. We have the no, not quite yet either. The green hasn't. They're not. The yellow, the green just crossed the white one, which is white 62 on the 1 minute. So they have a green cross. We're still looking for the yellow to cross below the green. It is basing right here. You can see that we have a strong blue candle, a red candle, another blue candle. If this thing goes and crosses and closes above, this may be a trade. But this is a handheld another way of drawing and finding trades. As far as our strength meter down here, we have on the 1 minute, we've shown the dollar strength. Look at the other 3 charts. We have the Japanese yen is strong, but they're right fighting for last place here, and they're fighting for last place here. So this could be the fact we had that strong move down, and now it's starting to work its way up. This could be a possibility of a trade.
May I ask you a question?
Sure.
On your 15-minute, the A on the harmonic, is there a reason why that you didn't consider your third hit, or did I miss something?
I didn't consider my third hit because it would have, well, if I go back to where I drew the harmonic on I'll just try to get a little higher time frame. I'm looking, I don't know that, I just see how much of a breach that would be. I think, well, you have a breach
I just
here.
didn't know. I wasn't sure.
Yeah, well, I guess the question is if we want to consider if this is too much of a breach or not. That's at 15 to 12. That's a 3 pip breach down here. That's probably not bad. So where you could you could almost consider that the fact that we had such a strong bounce off of that point. I think that's a good point, Christine. I think this is within 2 or 3 pips. I usually like to see 2, 3 pips I can work with. In
Right.
this particular case, since it did have such a strong bounce, there was an alert here. I can validate this one. I can go with that with the
Okay.
validation.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Right.
There's really, yeah, it's within 2 or 3. Usually, if it's in 2 or 3 pips, especially on the higher time frame, I can usually work with that.
Okay.
Now the question is going to be: is well, this one's already been broken. It came back. It's retest, and you can see where it's making higher highs and higher lows. This
Yeah.
high broke the wedge, closed above it. Now it's came back in to retest where the C is, and we have a little bit of a trend going on right in here. This is actually a little bit of a wedge pattern right in itself. If you can look at it from where the C is to the top, to the bottom, flatten out the top. They give it a little bit of a slope to the where this one. If this thing can close above, we might have a trade here. I would like to see at least a wick above this um, where this thing. If we can get, especially if we can get a close above where that candle is, we might have. And I wouldn't go for a whole lot with this, but this could be a possibility of a trade. Let's go on the 1 minute chart and just see if we get a close above. We did get the close on the 1 minute, and that's at 73 to 74, 75. You got a 2 pip spread with the close in there. All the RSIs are moving up. This one's coming out of the 40-60 range. This one's pointing up. This is pointing up. You got to be careful with this area, but if we can get this thing to come back, retest this, if we can get a retest, if we can get a blue candle off of this area right here, I'd be willing to take it. And again, I'm doing this in demo just because this is a, let's see if we can find one type of thing. So I gotta see if I can get this thing.
Hey, also, I didn't hear it, but are you going to be actively trading today? I won't be.
No, and I'm going to be in demo today. But this looks
Yeah,
like a nice little trade right here. I'm doing
it
buy
looks pretty
market.
good, Al.
Actually does. It looks
I
actually
like
doesn't
the
look too bad.
cross. You know,
Nice
your moving
cross.
averages.
So I'm in this trade right now, demo. I said that while we're in these rooms, we like to at least show you how to set where the setup is, and then it's up to you to decide whether or not it has all the criteria. Right now, I say this thing has the criteria for a normal trade, other than the fact that today is the day that you're probably getting a lot of whipsawing, a lot of narrow ranges. But I do like the fact we have a target up here. I like the fact we had the break. We had the break on the 1 minute over here, came back down, retested, came back down into the wedge, retested the bottom of the area of, well, this is now the new area, bottom of the wedge of a, this is all free-handed drawing. Dollar is strong, crossed the wedge. This is where it was tested. Now it didn't cross it tagged the green fib line, but usually that means it's coming out of a supply area, which would be this whole area down in here. And the new target would be up here with the red and the blue lines, which is up here where our supply. And we also have a deal of the harmonic is right up in this zone, which tells me that it broke out of the C area. And here's the C area right down here. It broke out of that, came back across, bouncing off the 30 moving average. But this harmonics, this would be the target area up in here, possibly of about where the D is at 104.92. If I can get 5 pips out of this, I'd probably take it off and be happy with that, just because of we may not get a lot. And I think that as long as we're having all the moving averages are in the right direction on this right now, we have the green, the yellow, and the white. Bounced off came crosses 30 minutes 62, came up, bounced, checked it, broke through and still trending. And the fact that it had a little basing right here below it broke through this trend line again, that's usually a good sign that if you have some basing just before it and it breaks through, that might be the barrier that breaks through in order to be able to get up a little bit higher. And let's see, and that's about all I have for this one right now. We'll just see what happens with it. My stop would be, I'll give it, I definitely want to keep my stop below 30 minutes 62, preferably below where the C is. And so let's just see how far away that is. I'm going to check this out. Take profit of stop loss of, we're going to go stop loss of 10 pips, which is our normal stop range. And that's at 104.65. And that should get us right below, and that's below the C here. So if it comes down, passes the 30, comes back and checks the 30, I'll get out of this trade probably. I'm going to give it some wiggle room. But right now it does seem to have some strength to the upside. The dollar is stronger on the 1 minute. And it was fighting for position on the other two. Right now we have a 3-point spread on the 5, a 1-point spread on the 15. And our harmonic is also giving us a clue that this thing is maybe going to be going long. And this is what we're doing while we're waiting for the IRIS alerts to come through. This doesn't look like it's a bad trade, actually. And maybe I'm being a little bit too cautious with the elections. And there's still a trading day, and things might still be status quo. But I do think everything's going to be very tightly ranged today until this evening. And after this evening, when the election results come in, you'll start seeing a lot more action. Right now, the entry target to go short up here is going to be right up around this 109, 104.92 area. So it's got a little bit of a ways to go. If it can get up there to where the entry for this harmonic is, that's going to be a 19, 20 pip move. I say if you can get 15 pips out of it, if it can come up into the supply zone, that could possibly be a 12 pip move. That'd be a nice little trade. It may not get up there right away. It may not be a real fast move today, but it may just gradually work its way up there. One thing about trading, you never quite know for sure until it happens, and then it's all hindsight. All you can do is go with the projections, and if we look at this wedge right here, this A, B, C to the D area, if we look at this wedge and we draw our stick, we're looking at pretty much of a range between, I say, from this point to down here by where the C is. So I'm going to draw a stick and see if that target that we're looking at is has validity. Let's make this go vertical, and we're going to check this out to. I'm going to move it over here to the bottom of the AC line, looking to where the vertical, the highest point above that line is right here. I'm going to move it up, snap it there, and then where the breakout was right here. And my target is, again, you can see my target is right here where the supply zone is. It makes for a pretty good target. I'm going to back this off just a little bit here, just below that. Let's see if we can get, that's a 9 pip target. And we'll see if it'll work. Does anybody have anything that they would like to look at in particular until we get another alert? I can go and draw the US CAD. There was an alert there 15 minutes later at 2:15. I'll erase all the trend lines here. Start with a fresh chart. 15-minute chart, 2:15 in the morning. And this just gives you good practice on how to draw the wedges and how to look for to train your eyes to see these trends. I just look at this now. I'm seeing it's trending on down. We had a strong move down after the alert. Again, if you were up at 2:15 in the morning, you still would have had been pretty quick in order to catch this. I'm looking at this as a low that it broke. I would wanted it to break through this low right here, which it did, of course. And this was a, let's see what this was. This was a ascending wedge. So basically, it was looking at this area right in here. We had a strong move down overnight. Or yesterday. This was yesterday's move down. Here was the overnight high and low. So I'm going to take it from the overnight high and low. Ascending, I'm going to start with my A down here. Move it up to the top, the high. Go down to the next low. And going to tuck it in where we had the alert. Now the alert was right here. So I'm going to move this C over to as close as I can to the vertical, to the line before the alert. I'm gonna move the D over to the top and see how that works. Gonna move to my 15, to my lower time frame charts and see if I can tweak it some. And here's our 1 minute chart. Here's the A, here's the B. That's the highest overnight high. And we're tucked, actually, I kind of like where this thing is tucked in right. I have an anchor, here's a hit. I'm going to bring the D over to this high right here. And so that would confirm this trend line. That would be confirmed as the third hit that was rejected. Here's our anchor. And we don't really have a second hit until the alert, so I'm just going to tuck it right in before the one candle that closed just before the alert was triggered. And as you can see where the alert was triggered, it actually broke this line right here, came down, retested it. Could probably almost even do this. Tag that as your third, as your second hit. Here's the third hit of this trend line, and then it broke down. And that was a nice move overnight. This one was about, you see where it broke, came back down, retested it, broke, retested a second time. This is still pretty early in the morning, but you never really got the strong break until down here at the bottom of this area right in there was where it actually broke. And you could have used this as a reference to that low. And actually, if you were to be looking at before the wedge alert was, you could actually have this where you have this probably could have been the anchor. Here's a hit. That could have been your third hit off of this trend line, but that broke right. I mean, it got the alert pretty much right at the same time it broke. You wouldn't be able to get everything drawn before it was pretty much out of the chute here. But I like the overnight low. I like that one a little bit better. And then just tuck it in as close as you can before the alert and wait and see if you can get the follow through. That would have been a nice move.
Especially for that pair at that time of the night.
Yeah, and that's a 77 pip move.
That's pretty incredible.
Overnight for in the middle of the night for a Canadian US dollar move.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's
That's a lot of money.
Everybody's still sleeping.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
Let's see how our US yen's doing. Okay, the US yen is still chugging away. It's still retesting this area, but still is respecting the 30-minute 62, which is right where the 5 is. The 5 and 30 are pretty much right on top of each other. They're only like a tenth of a pip apart, not even a tenth of a pip. So this is holding. Our C is holding. Our wedge has been broken a couple of different times, so this is almost even. Can almost move this thing up to a. Let's see what this looks like on a higher time frame.
Yeah, that many times broken, I would just move that trend line, right?
Yeah.
Because it's not doing what we're expecting it to do, and it's just too big of a breach.
At this point, I would still use this for the. I think I'd probably use this maybe. That would be almost. That'd be. I like this one a little bit better using this pivot rather than the X where the X is. Use this trend here. Here's an anchor. Here's a hit. And see if it can break through where the this area here. This is a significant point right here where the B is. Let's see. I don't know if this thing would work or not with this B. Not real crazy about that. This still almost looks like a little more of a head fake right in here. I would like to see this. This isn't confirmed. I'm just going to use this as a reference since it did break and came back in again. I'm going to use this for the new reference. Still nothing conclusive here. Like I said, this thing could just hang around in this area all day today. Any questions? Anybody have anything to add? Anything that they would like to look at while we're sitting here waiting to see what might develop?
Come on, guys, here's your chance.
Yep. So I don't have a whole lot to show right now because there hasn't been any alerts since, like I said, 2 o'clock this morning. Let me see if there's anything else coming on with our harmonics. And I'm not seeing anything there either. At the US yen, there was a British US. We could maybe take a look at that one. We'll keep an eye on this one. The British US, we had a harmonic. Going to go to this one was a 30 minutes. So I'm going to go to a 30-minute chart on this one to draw it. And actually, another thing we can do, let's take a look at our RCS tool and just see if there's anything that's looking like it's setting up for us with a range. Expand all these, turn this one off. And I'm looking to see which is this on the 4-hour chart, which is the strongest. And you can see the Aussie strong on 4 hours, the 30-minute, the 15. Right now, the Aussie looks pretty good, and it looks like it would be good to the US. Let's take a look at the Aussie US. We'll just take a look at that one. That might be a better way to go here. Aussie US, go to 15-minute chart. Going to clean up the chart, start from scratch. Strong move up from overnight low. And this way, that thing, now look and see where on the 4-hour chart, see where the highs were. It was a double top right here. So this is a significant area to be looking at. This is on a 4-hour chart, so I'd be saying that this is a supply zone, which is almost there. And may want to be looking at maybe possibly getting this thing to go short. It was such a strong move up. This is like a rocket ship going right up in here. And usually when you get a strong move up like this, it's going to come right up into a supply zone, get everybody sucked in over here, and here's where the trap's going to be to be able to take it short. So actually, I'd be looking at this being at the end of a move to go short, more so than trying to catch the ride on this one.
It's interesting because it also had a...
Oh, you're fine, but it's going to come... It's got to retrace some little bit, right now.
Yeah.
It's got to come back at least 23.6 or 50% if it's going to keep on going up.
And look at that log, the second candle on the way down at this second top.
This area here, and this was almost as long coming up as this one was coming down.
Yeah.
So you can see that there's some area right in here where there's a little bit of a battle going on. There's a battle going on right up in this area. If this thing comes up on a lower time frame, we may take a shot at looking for a little flag to reverse it. We're going to check the higher trend line. Here's a supply zone, but here's a high, higher low, or lower high, lower high. This is trending all the way down here. Comes back up, breaks this, comes back up, retesting this area. It could break here and then head on up to this area. So I'm going to mark this zone up here as another area of interest. And that's going to be this wick off of this candle right here. And the body of, I'll just take the whole blue candle right there. I'm going to take this whole red candle right in here. And so we have a little bit of a level on the level. Like I said, oftentimes when the first level gets broken and the second one, it holds. Let's go to our 15-minute chart and see if there's anything that looks like it could be of interest on that. This was a huge move overnight. That was 103 pips overnight. And that's to dollar weakness, Australian dollar strength.
This lowest hemisphere overnight's been rocking.
And I think what they're looking at, the way I interpret this from a fundamental standpoint, is that according to the Australian dollar, they're looking at the dollar weakness. They're just basically running the dollar weak, and then when the results come out tonight, if the U.S. If the markets feel like the dollar is going to get strong again by the election results, it's going to get strong. It's going to move down. So right now they're getting everybody in projecting that it's going to be. Usually it goes opposite the direction it's going to have when the news comes out. But they're already getting ready to take their position for when the news comes out. So when the news comes out, drive it down to the other side. We'll see. We'll see. I can only speculate based on my own feelings, not because I know what I'm talking about.
I think you know very well what you're talking about.
And let's see here. So right now it's coming up into supply zone. I'd be looking for a little bit of a pullback. And if we did a Fibonacci, I mean, this is just such a strong move. It's like Matt says, bound to retrace somewhat. And if with move like this, I'd be looking at here when it comes back up. When it retraces, if it can retrace back about 40%, which is right about to here, if it comes back into this zone, this would be a good area to maybe take it long for it to retest this other area. But right now, I would not try and get on this ride up. I'd wait for a pullback and then wait for it to retest wherever that high was. So there's really not much of a trade here either. There's a little bit of a strong move up. Here's a little flag pattern. Another move up, a little flag pattern. But I'd be looking for like a little bit of an A, B, C correction, then retest the top. Let's see what I have on something else here I can maybe look at. Yeah, it's definitely in the extreme. Yes, I would just be waiting for a correction. Don't try and catch these. Don't try and catch the falling knife, and don't try and catch this rocket ship. It's already out of the chute, and if you get a pullback, you may have a chance to get in. Look and see what your RSIs are doing. RSIs are pretty much up near the 89%. Both of them are kind of up near the 89% on this 15-minute. If you get this blue one to pull back, you may have a chance to maybe grab a few pips on the upside after the pullback. But I want to see this 3-minute RSI, 3-period RSI come all the way down, hook, have the orange one still sitting up here. Blue one comes down, hooks, and then make it catch a few pips on the rebound. I don't think it's quite ready to retrace yet, but like I said, I expect it's going to, good chance it'll come at least deeper into this supply zone. But there again, you're only looking at this whole zone is 7140 to 7158. This whole zone is on this higher time frame zone is only 18 pips. I mean, it's enough to take a trade, but you need to find a place to where you can get in to get a target. If I look at my fib tools, you can see there's a red fib line right in the middle of that zone. You might get a bounce off of that, come back to retest the green one, somewhere in between. And this is probably 21 pip zone right in here between the red and the green. And other than that, we wait, sit on our hands, and just watch charts. Questions, comments?
Oh, you want to try getting another one off the RCS?
Well, we could try. Let's see here.
See, we're just sitting on our hands.
Yep. There's we know the CAD's strong against the U.S. Let's see. We could try the. Let's see. CAD. There's a British. Let's go try the British U.S. British. Just try British U.S. or British yen. Let's take a look at that one. Let's see. That one. Close that one out. We don't need that one. Let's go with the British. Let's duplicate my chart here. Let's try the British yen. That was one I used to trade a long time ago, and I haven't really looked at it that closely in the past. British yen right here. I have to be careful with the spread on this. This has a 2-point spread on it. But it's showing the British being strong to the yen, so we'd be looking at taking this thing long. And we have our RCS tool is propagating. We'll see where that takes us. And on the lower, see, we have the British being strong by 5. So we want to take this thing, we want to take it long. So we're looking for a pullback. Let's look at our 15-minute chart and see where we have a little bit of a flag pattern going on here. We have a top, here's the actually it's more of a basing area. Kind of like this as a zone for where it's trading into. This is our trading zone. Let's take a look at a higher time frame. Let's go to 1 hour and see if we can find something that may fit. Try and find out where our trends are. And right now I'm looking to see, can I find something that might give me 3 hits on a trend line? Starting down here, this one would have been breached. I'm looking at right now an unconfirmed trend line would be, we had a strong move up, came back, tested. So this is a valid pivot point. It based, came back down. So this is the trend line that I'd be looking at on the 1 hour chart. Not confirmed, so there. And I'd be looking at the top on the other end of this. I'd be looking to see where, if there's a trend developing over the last several days. There's actually one here, but then this one got breached. Let's go to a higher time frame, see if there's something else. Let's go 3 hour. I like this trend right here, but again, this one may have been breached here, but we'll try this one. Here's a high, here's a hit, here's a hit, there's a third hit. This trend line would be confirmed way back in here. This one is a couple little breaches right there. And let's go back to our 15 minutes and see if this thing already broke. It broke this trend line right here about 4 o'clock this morning. And now we're looking to see where the possible target could be. This one was confirmed. And we just got breached. We take the top of this area right in here. Let's see what it looks like on this side. I'm going to take it up a little bit higher and see if it aligns with anything over in this area. And I'm looking at this area right in here. You can see how this thing pretty much aligned right into the top of this blue candle. And you can see where that's just a little bit above where the top of this basing area that this thing's doing right now after it broke the trend line. It's probably going to find a little bit of resistance there. I would be looking at maybe possibly that it may break out of this and retest the trend line. If we can get the moving averages on the lower time frame to roll over, which now the 5 and the 13 have crossed. It bounced off the 62. If we get a close below the 62. Let's see where our 30-minute one is. And that could be used for a possible target area. Let's see where our 30-minute. Our 30-minute is, that's our trend line. Here's our 30-minute moving average all the way down here, which means this thing could, if this thing rolls over, it could come back down and retest that area. Let's see where we have a 15 moving average here. Let's mark that one. This is my 5-minute 62. Come over here to my 15-minute chart, mark my 15-minute 62. Where we have the 30 marked on all 3 time frames as a default. There's a 1562 here. There's the 5. Here's the 30 down here. We're at pretty much at the top of the box that it was trading in. Let's look at it on the 5-minute chart. And the question would be, is this area going to hold? Is it going to retest this, which was we found at a higher time frame pivot high, which is right where it's been bouncing and basing. I'm over to my 15-minute chart. Take a look and see if I can find a supply zone that might fit. And I kind of like this area right in here. I'm going to clone this. And I'm going to use this whole zone right here where, if you look over here, I'm looking at where there's a strong move and a retest. Here's a strong red candle on the downside, came down, formed a pivot, came back, retested this move, based in here, came down, retested it. So here's a basing, a break, a retest, and then the bigger break. I like this whole zone right here for a turnaround point. I'm going to just, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this up here, and we're going to call this a supply zone. You can see it came up, it wicked up, came back down, tested again, came back down. If it breaks through this zone, let's see where the next zone would be. Next zone is going to be this area right up in here where this basing was before. This was the close of the day. This was this would be yesterday's. This is the day of the 27th. This would probably be like last Thursday. And so I would be looking at this area. That's another target zone for if this lower one breaks. You can see where the 62, the 30-minute 62 was tested, reached, it's following it down, got tested here. And now it's going to probably retest this whole area up in this area. So this would be your level on the level. And we'll see what happens with this break, if this can hold up here. And basically be looking for a little wedge or some basing to form up here. It's not really drawing a wedge per se because you have bottoms here, you have tops over here. I'd want to see it get out of this area before and then retest this trend line. And this, by the time it would retest this trend line, the 62 is going to be right up on it. Let's go to our 5-minute chart. And this is what we just do. You're searching for trades until one gets alerted to you. Strong move up. Here's a little bit of a wedge starting to form here. This could be the second rejection of this whole area. And I'm thinking we probably have the crossover of the moving averages on the 1 minute.
Look at that. You requested one, Al.
Oh, okay. Let's see. What did we get requested?
A US yen.
US yen?
Yep.
Okay. Let's take a look at that. US yen.
You didn't know you had such power.
Yeah. Oh, I see. It just came in. Okay, you're right. All right, here we go.
Hey, look at that.
Actually, we do have this. We were working this one with the harmonic. You can see I'm still
Yes.
down on this one. Another reason not to be taking it on that break. Let's see. Here we have a US ascending at 8:45. So let me move this over here to 8:45. It's ascending. So let me just take all this other stuff off and just start this one from scratch.
You got to move your line around. You're at 9.
Oh, 8.
Not to be a total
Whoa,
stickler.
one more. Oh, I'm on a 30-minute chart. That's why.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
8:45. There we go. And it's
I'm so used to.
ascending.
Yes.
So I'm going to take this off. I'm going to take this off.
So used to you being on a 15.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep my trend line here. But here's where the alert was, ascending. So I'm looking at the. Let's see. I'm going to look at this. This is the overnight low. This is the overnight high. But I'm going to use this little area right here. I'm going to look at this for the wedge in this area right here. Ascending, I'm going to start down low, come up to the top where it was tested, come down here, tuck it in as close as I can without breaching anything. Bring this one up to the top. Here's our wedge. If we get a break below the C, this might be worth reversing positions. And we got an anchor. Here's a hit. Here's a hit. Here's the alert. Let's go to our 1-minute chart and see if we can fine tune this thing before it gets too far out of whack for us.
Yeah, we're coming up to the 9 o'clock hour, Al. So that'll
already,
be
9 o'clock hour already.
Yeah, it's quick
Yeah,
today.
there really wasn't a lot of movement this morning. I mean, we're looking at from 8 o'clock. Let's see what we had here from about 8 o'clock. This was 8:25. We started here at 8 o'clock, pretty much right there. So from here to here, in the last half hour, the last hour, pretty much, it's only moved 8 pips in the last hour. That'll give you some idea about what this thing's doing today. Now, if we get a break here by 2 pips, I'm going to draw that line, that 2 pip area line that we used to draw a while back. This could be the break. There we go. Just got stopped out on my long.
And
we're gonna move this thing down to where we have it from. Let's see, that's 66.7. So I'm going to go 64.7. Right there. That's our 2 pip, and it's starting to break down. There's a fib line. Here's the A. It's just now tagging the A. If we can break this area here, it could be going down lower. Then we'd be looking at this for another target. Come back, retest the zone. This would be where you could go and take it short. There's a retest. That's a pretty strong move down on this alert. And let's see from here, that's 63 to 55. That's 8 pips down to this potential target. It's tagging the blue line. We'll see if how it closes. If it can close below that trend line I just drew. This is basically our enter zone to sell. If it can hold the wedge where the alert was. Let me tuck this in right over there. Strong move down, retesting the wedge. See if this was a head fake or not.
Your clock's working again on the 1 minute.
Oh yeah, yeah. If this thing can close with a nice low wick there, I'm going to take this thing short with a. I'm going to go with the market order. Actually, let's see if I can get a 465 sell stop. $65.3. I had to keep it below. There it is. I'm in. And the yen is showing strength on the 1 minute. Let's see where it is on the yen showing strength on all 3 time frames. It did come up and retest the wedge. Give us another red candle. This is a nice little move down from here. Retrace. Check it to see if we can find a target zone. I'll use this top, this bottom, use this for the retrace. Retraced, right now it's retraced about 50% of this move. And the target zone is going to be pretty much right down in this area. That'd be the first target. Let's see if there's a fib line anywhere. Here's our blue. I like the 5 minute on the fib lines for the Japanese, the yen pair. But I'd be looking this for a target of this area right in here. And I might split the difference. Take this off. And see if it can come and get us a target. It is a little bit, a few pips here. If it can get into this target zone off of this, off my entry, let's see where 7 pips is going to be. I think 7 pips would be a reasonable target on this one. And it's always still below that zone here, but still above this where this, that's 1 minute. So I like this little, there's a nice little wick right here where the bounce, so this could be a viable area to be tested. All these wicks, I'd be looking pretty much the bottom of all these wicks right in here. And our target, 7 pip target, is inside that area. So that's good. So far, it's starting to work nicely.
Hey, that's a nice break, Al.
Yeah, it is. It was that nice 1 minute candle came right down, retested the wedge.
Look at how the moving averages are moving. Too many moving in that sentence, but
Yep.
but anyway, it looks real nice.
I like it when we get the break of the 30 minute, 62. All the moving averages crossed over, and now it's trending on down. So right now you can pretty much just follow this 30 minute or this 1 minute 62 up here. You can pretty much keep your stop above that. Because if this thing works, it should hit our target. If it doesn't, we can just, we'll mitigate our losses. And I'll put it right there. Right now, I've got a 5 pip loss on this thing. 7 pip target, 5 pip loss. We know that right now it's bouncing. There's a little, see a little bounce right here off this blue fib line. If we can get a pass and check, then it could probably go head on down to the next line, which would be down here. This would be the next target area from the Fibonacci standpoint. Let's got to get through this little target area first. all the RSIs are moving in the right direction. Our RCS tool says the yen is strong. Yen is the second currency of the pair. That gives us strength to the downside. And our 5 minutes says the same thing. Yen is strong by 3. Yen is strong by 5 on the 1 minute, on the 15 minute. So right now, everything's in our favor to have a profitable trade. And let's see what else I have to add to the equation here right now. Yeah, right now it looks like it's still a good, strong move to the downside. I'm going to take some of this off the 15-minute chart just to clean it up a little bit so we can see the price action on the 15 a little bit better. Nice trending candles. We have 3 candles in a row that are making lower highs and lower lows. Here we had 1, 2, 3, 4 candles with a nice strong move down on the 15-minute. And here you can actually see a little bit of an ABC. Actually, this could actually start trending into another stronger move to the downside. We actually have, if you look at a wave count, I see here would be the anchor, here would be wave 1, wave 2, here's wave 3, retrace on wave 4, and then we have a wave 5 coming down here. 2 to 3 is usually the longest wave. 2 to 3 has got to be longer than 0 to 1. 5 may or may not be longer than 3. Usually 2 to 3 wave is usually the longest wave. But wave 5 should certainly extend below wave 3. That's one reason why I kind of like it down like this. There, you're right about there. And let's draw some sticks here and see if that tells us anything. If wave 2 to 3 is generally the longest wave, then wave 3 to 5 should be probably a little bit shorter, which puts us right here at our target area. But wave 4 to 5 is usually a pretty, actually, let me do it this way. It should at least break this area right in there. And I would expect this bottom of this blue candle to be challenged.
Oh, another alert.
Oh.
It's just flying in today. I'll check it out.
About time. Let's see. Just gonna refresh.
Descending US Swiss.
Okay, 9 o'clock. Let's keep an eye on this one. And US Swiss. Let me go and put this one on. US Swiss.
Yeah. It's descending out.
Okay.
FYI.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And we'll put this on a 15-minute chart. Going to clean it up so we don't have any influence in our minds. And it was at 9 o'clock. And it was descending. That means, and you can see there's a nice little slope coming down as a strong drop. Here's a base, drop, another base, drop, another base. And here's where it's sort of forming this trend coming down. I'm going to use this pivot high. This spacing area down to the low, come up to the blue, come down to a lower, a little bit lower low right there. Here's our wedge. And we'll see if it has anything. So I'm looking for a break above the C or a break below the D area for the wedge. Have that one. This is the area that should be trading. And now if it breaks the C, it's got to clear the A. But if it clears the A, then here's a little zone that we're looking at for a possible target zone. Call this supply. Let's see what our strength is here. We have the Swiss pretty much ballying out for last place with the dollar. That's on the 15-minute. Dollar's a little bit stronger on the 5, and it's a little bit stronger. Swiss is stronger to the, so that'd be stronger to the downside. Not a lot of consistency here. We'll tweak this over a little bit. Now we get a crossover. Again, this is, let's see what the range of this wedge is. You have basically 12 pips wide. By the time you get, if you even got a crossover here, you're only looking at probably 5 pips till it breaks the bottom. So right now I'd have to stay out of any trade until it breaks the wedge itself. So it's got to break this yellow target up here, this yellow one down here, which is your D area. And then see if there's enough room to the downside on the 15-minute for a target. If it does break top side, breaks the bottom side, let's see, I've got something. First area would be, here's a strong move up, basing strong move up. This would be the potential target. Right in this area would be the first target I'd be looking at. Let's say the bottom of this series of blue candles right in there. And we're going to mark this as demand target, demand zone, which is the same thing as the target zone. How's our yen trade doing? Still hanging in there. Let's see where it's 20-minute or 30-minute 62 is. Let's check our moving averages. And the moving averages on our 30-minute 62 is above the price. The 15 is above. 5-minute 62 is above. We had a bounce off of that. That's kind of interesting. And we have the moving averages have crossed over on the, we like to get the white above the yellow right now still. If we were to take this trade short right now, we'd probably be looking at a bounce off of this area. But if it can penetrate that, we might have some room to the downside till we get to this demand zone. You'd have 14 pips. You could probably get 7 pips. If we can break the wedge on this and get a retest of the wedge, we might have a trade there. And to do the 2 pip zone after the break. So 91.42, so we're going to go 91.40. Then we're going to have this be the zone to sell. I'm up here, would make the zone to buy. Yeah, see, that's at 53. We're going to call it 55. This is the zone to buy. So basically, if we can get a break below these yellow lines and a close above inside that area, that may be worth taking a shot at it. You can see with the alert that we had with the US yen, it's still sort of just hanging in there. Nice strong move that broke it, came back up, still retesting the wedge. Hasn't come up to my stop yet. Still respecting the 62. Although we do have the crossover now, which is not a good thing. And you can see when it broke, came back, retested, it's kept a very narrow range. There was only 4 pips. You would have had to get in right at the wedge break, and you still would have only gotten 4 pips out of it, and you would still have given up 2 with the spread, or 1 with the spread. As I said, this is what I expected to be happening today on this election day, is that it's going to be breaking small moves, breaking small moves. This thing still hasn't hit the extreme yet, so it's still a pullback, but still nothing conclusive yet. Go back to the Swiss. We did all the crossovers. We're waiting for the 13 across the 62. That's a pretty big one as well. Now, if we can get this 13 moving average across the 62 without having the green crossing both of them, that'd be a good reason, a good sign that's going to still stay going short. You see on the 16, on the 15-minute chart, you can see where the green moving average came up, couldn't cross the yellow, came back down, came back up, still hasn't crossed the yellow. Now we're starting to get a nice little red candle on the 15-minute. And there's nothing that's telling me that I want to take this US Swiss in any direction right now. I would need a little bit stronger pullbacks, stronger extensions to be able to want to take it short or long. Right now it seems to be trading inside the zone here.
Yeah, I agree. I don't see anything in there yet.
Let's see how our yen trade's doing. It's still hanging in there.
If I had taken the yen live, I would have exited already because I don't want to be in a trade that just sits around and does nothing anymore.
Mm-hmm. And we're still 15 minutes from the U.S. market opening, so that could get some traction to some of these directions. But we may have to wait till 9:30 for something to pop.
I heard there's quite a few of the financial institutions that are not playing around in the Forex market today.
I did hear that as well. Yeah, that they're just keeping their powder dry.
Yeah, they're just holding up until the results of the election are
Yep.
finalized because it could. See, smart money doesn't risk where there's just so much unknown, and there's so many ways that this could go against the person. So they're just staying out of the markets. It's better to stay out of the markets than be in a compromised position.
Yeah, just wait for the. I mean, as they start getting some news, but they probably shouldn't get the news. I don't know if they'll get any more news as far as the election results. I mean, they've been listening to polls and all, but we can't rely on the polls for any accurate information. The institutions may have some other methods of analyzing that, but for the most part, no one's going to really know until tonight to even get a feel for which way it's going to go. And then even after that, you don't know what's going to happen. Either way, the results will probably be contested. And I said I could keep on taking these trades back and forth, and I could be getting stopped out all day long today. That's just why I kind of wanted to show you what happens on days like today.
easily L. It could easily be.
I took it long. I got stopped out. I took it short, and I was retesting. And this, you get the nice. That was a nice strong break. I mean, this thing still could materialize. I'm not going to pull my trade at this point. We have a nice strong move down. We actually have another little flag pattern coming up. So we actually have a little bit of a wedge developing here, an upper wedge. It's starting to try and break again. Now I'm back to break even right now. But now I'm still going to have to get through this this nice long move. It still has to get through that. They found some buyers that came in right when this thing came down right here at the blue fib line. You can see how these lines are, how they really work and how well they work. I have a little bit of a higher low. I have a little bit of a higher high. Still showing strength to the yen. The yen is second currency of the pair. Strength to the downside. Yen still showing strong on all three time frames. We're also starting to get another bounce. But none of these moves have been real huge. Even like from this D to where it is right now, again, it's still only 4 pips. Here's the anchor. Here's a hit. Here's our third hit. There's no question, is this going to reach it and drop, or is it going to come back and hold? You still have I still want to see it close below the A. I actually want to see it close below. There it goes. It's starting to close. Come into our target zone. What I'm going to do is I'm going to move this to a break even. Maybe just give it just a little bit still. Now I'm in a risk-free trade. Here's my target for target 1. And I move my stop to the top of this red candle just to protect it. If it retraces off this big red candle, it should not take out the top of it. If it comes out of this box, I'm going to close it out. Now we should get a red candle. If this is a drop base, you have a red candle, blue candle. We should start getting a red candle, and we should be okay. It would turn blue first. Let's see if it holds the top of this. Here's our drop. Here's a base. Should get another drop again. This blue candle right in the middle here, this is a pretty much of a neutral candle. It's blue, but you see it has strong wicks on either side and it closed right about in the middle of that candle. That's a red candle. That's a good sign that was red. And I'm out the trade. The spread took me out. If this was a good basing, it should have been dropped. It should have been blue candle, and then that red candle should have been able to take that out. If it wasn't able to take that out, that's telling me that there was enough sell buyers up here to push it back up again. But generally, if you have a one color, a red candle, blue candle, then a red candle, that's nice drop bases and then drops again. This one has a 4 candle. Right now, it's showing a 4 candle base on it. And that's not as desirable. That means it sort of lost some of its momentum going the downside. But it was a profitable trade.
That's always a plus.
Yeah.
We'll probably get a nice alert on Kiwi US.
Kiwi US.
Yeah, there's a really nice wedge forming, ascending.
Kiwi US.
Even Aussie US is looking very similar.
I'm not seeing what you're seeing.
Oh, on the 15-minute. You see it ascending with a flat top.
Oh, okay. I see what you're looking at.
Yeah.
You're talking about this?
Yeah, exactly. You see a big run up, and then you got your ascending wedge. So these 63% chance that it breaks to the upside. And then it at least goes the length of the wick, the stick, whatever that means.
This is kind of like a rally base, then rally.
Exactly.
So if we're looking at it from a 15-minute standpoint, if we can measure it with our Fibonacci tool, we could be looking at something like this. And then the target would be up around in this area. Let's see how that fits with the stick. We'll call this our target zone. And then we're going to get rid of this. And we're going to have look for the stick for the range. I'm going to use the flat top to the B. There's a flat top. Here's the B length. And if it breaks the top, that would be your target. The range of the target, pretty much right into that zone. And if we draw a 2 pip range off of that, you want to see it go up and close out 2 pips above. So that's 66.84. We're going to make it 66.86. Say this is going to be the entry to buy. And we are showing that the New Zealand
Hi.
is showing stronger to the US.
You scared me. Sorry, supposed to be muted.
Let's take a look at our lower time frames and see what it looks like on that. We are getting the RSIs coming up into the extended zone. I like the strength of the New Zealand to the US dollar on this move for a breakout. All of our moving averages are in the right direction. We had a bounce off the 30.62 down here earlier on this morning. And now it's trying to make new highs for the daily highs. And we're about 1 minute before the market opens. You can see I have a little bit of a sloping wedge here too on the ascending type of thing. There's a little bit of a channel right there. See, this is on 30 minutes, break it down to a 15-minute. Here's an anchor, here's a hit, here's a hit. Flat top this. And here's an anchor, here's a hit, waiting for the third hit on the bottom. If it breaks through the bottom, it's going to be looking at bouncing off of the 62. And that could be a nice little break here. That would be 13 pips to the downside. That could be a potential target
not to speak any Chinese, Al, but with the USD JPY, it was actually at extreme on the 30-minute, and then that was actually the top. So I should have been able
Up
to
here?
see that was where we were at USD JPY. If you go back a bit more until about that was the 7:15 a.m. There was
I
something
see.
that happened on one of the other
I'm seeing an
other things.
extreme on the 30. You said 30-minute. I'm looking at
Yeah.
15-minute. I'm looking at extreme at let's see where we. Looks like it got into the extreme back around 3 o'clock this morning, and it came out of the extreme right around 5:30. Is what I'm showing here. But that
Yeah,
was
I can show you in the other room later.
yeah,
It's all
okay.
good. We won't pursue that very much.
One, two, three, four, five. This is a 6-candle basin before it broke out of the bottom, and now it's coming up to retest it again. Now it's actually starting to trend a little bit. Here's a drop, base, drop, retesting the base. And another little flag pattern coming on up here. Here's a high. Here's a low. Here's another high. Here's another little wedge forming. And the market's open now. It's been open for about 4 minutes. That's probably right about where this move came from, just before the market opened, 25 minutes before. Here's the 30-minute. So it opened right up here, popped up right at the open. Well, what do you say we take about a 10-minute break and come back about in about 10 minutes and see if we can catch something with the quarter till candle. So let's go and take a little break since everything's kind of quiet right now.
Yeah, it's a good idea, Al. Give me a
And we
chance to get
will,
some coffee.
and we'll see everybody back in 10 minutes.
Okay, game plan.
Okay, we're back. And
I need to run out and get something for the wife real quick, but I'll be right back. Might
Okay.
take about 10 minutes.
All right. All right. Well, no new alerts coming up. We'll see if anything happens at 10 o'clock. But right now you can see where this trade was. We hit the target, came back up. Right now it's retesting the wedge. And it's starting a whole new ball game. Looks like the U.S. stock market has opened up strong to the upside.
Just a bit.
Just a little bit.
I flew out of the chute.
Anybody in the group here have any questions, any comments, like to add anything? Now's a good time. The things are kind of quiet and there's no trade set up that we want to jump into.
Yes. How's that U.S. Swiss?
How's the U.S.
You
Swiss?
switched?
Let's see.
Not that it was doing anything before, but
Yeah, it's still pretty much still
No.
trading inside the wedge zone area. Here is the alert. It was a descending wedge, and it's still pretty much trading just inside of that range. It did have a little bit of a break, but it never really got into our entry zone. We never got it closed in there. So nothing real earth-shattering happening in that regard. And we wait. See if there's any others to take a look at while we're waiting. Take a look at our graph here to see our RCS lines and see if there's anything that looks like it could be of value here. Euro, you can see the euro is right about in the middle. You got 3 up, 3 down, and you got the euro and the Swiss are right in the middle. So we don't avoid those two. You'd be looking to trade either like the British Aussie and CAD versus the New Zealand yen or US. Right now it's showing that the dollar is the weakest. A British US could be a possibility. It's pretty much on the 30-minute. British is strong on 35 and 15. US is weak on that. It is changing a little bit on the 5. So let's take a look at the British US, see if there's anything there. And as I look at the 15-minute chart, everything is moving, all the moving averages are in the right direction to the upside on the 15 and on the 5 and on the, check out the 1. We have consolidation right now on the 1. The 1 is consolidating, came out bouncing off the 62, 30 minutes all the way down below. Trading this thing to the upside may not be a bad way to go. And look and see, look at the 15-minute chart, see where our targets may be. Get to a higher time frame. We'll start with a 3 hour. Look and see where the daily ranges are. You can see there's a nice little trend going. Now it broke this trend. We had a nice trend going on down here on a daily trend line. Here's a high. Here's the high. Here's the next day high. Next day low, lower high, lower high. Nice little trend going down here. It broke that, and you can see where it broke this pivot right over in here. This is where it's probably going to the upside. So the next target would be, I would put the next target right here at the top of this. And then there's a little bit of a, if you look to come over here from this area, there's the wick, and it comes right over here. So then this would be the next target up here. And this would be the next, what I would call the supply zone. We have a rally base, and the target on this rally base rally would be starting on pretty much down here. To here, to the bottom. This would be the target zone right about in this area, right where we have it marked. Pretty much right in this area. And of course, where would you get in? I don't know. This is no longer in effect. Let's go to lower time frame, see if there's anything there. This is all with the pre-market open right here. Strong move up.
Maybe a little pullback on the 1 minute now.
Need more than that.
Oh, well, no, I agree.
Yeah, it's
trying to be optimistic, Al.
Yeah, well, it's going to pull back. And the question is how far and when. So let's see if there's the next previous target that we can look at over here. Or a trend line would be another thing. We have a little bit of a trend. Higher high, higher lows. Here's a wedge right here. There's a little bit of a trend going on over here. There's an anchor, there's a hit. Next hit is going to be up pretty much up in that area. Not a whole lot else until we get pretty well, actually right about here is where we're at right now in this little area. Could get a little bounce off of this. we can get a bounce off of that, it may form a nice little wedge to be able to look for an up moved into this area up in here. That'd be 36 pips. That would be enough room to the upside. And let's see, we have a little bit of a trend going here. We have here's a high, here's a higher high. Here's a low, here's a higher low in there. I'd be looking for it to be trading inside this channel right in here. Let's check the pivots on this one from here. It's still breaking all that. So just trying to find something that would help align, give some alignment to. That's not too bad. Here's an anchor, here's a hit, pull it, strong pull back, came back up, hit this line. I would say we have an anchor, there's a hit, here's the third hit right here. It did break that, but it's coming right up into this little yellow area right there. I would say this one was confirmed for the third hit. We have a higher one. So this breaks, comes back, retested. This thing could go up higher. I would like to see a little bit of a wedge fall form right in here before I would take that long. So right now we pretty much have an ascending wedge. We have a small little, you can see where the angle has changed a little bit here. We had a nice sloping angle here. And we move this thing up. You can see where this angle has changed a lot stronger. And we can clone this and find the parallel. That might work. It's more of a wedge. There's an anchor. Here's a hit. There's the third hit right here, right? And you have, this is an energy point right here where we have the horizontal line. I'm starting to retest that line right in there. And that line is generated from the pivot high right over here. And let's see if there's a fib line in there somewhere. And we have a blue fib line right in the same area. So I'd say right in here, there's could get a major bounce coming off of this. This could be the head fake off of this trend line. Starting to get a red candle right off of that. Let's go to our 1 minute chart and see if there's anything there that could give us. It's a very, very strong move.
Yeah.
And it just sliced right through that.
Yeah.
So like I said, we're just staying out of this stuff today. Didn't get any alerts for that. All we could do was, that was just a observation from our RCS tool.
Yeah. And your pound is at 6 and yours is at 1.
And see, we're looking right here at the Fibonacci. This is the Fibonacci line right here, I think. Let me see. Oh, no, it's not. Maybe it is. Here's my fib line. So this is probably a 2 minute. Yeah, that's a 2 minute fib line. Okay, rejected that. Let's go to a 5 minute chart. There should be let's see what kind of fib line we have on this one. It's showing real dollar weakness to the British pound.
Yeah.
And actually, you see that the dollar is at 0. That means it's on the 5 minute chart. It's the weakest of all the currency pairs right now. And right now it's a little after 10 o'clock. We're still not getting any alerts for 10 o'clock. So I think we're going to wrap this thing up since there really isn't much to talk about. And so hope everybody has a good election day. Keep your powder dry. Don't get too crazy about trying to trade anything today. And wait for tomorrow and wait for the results. I think there'll be some better days coming in the next day or two. So having said that, everybody, thanks for coming, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Have a great day, everyone. God bless.